Guys, welcome to Wednesday's Florida Treasure Coast market update. Stick with me, and I'm going to show you the market's starting to get some good momentum.
You better get fired up.
All right, happy Wednesday, guys. Great to see you. Every single Wednesday, we come here at 12:30 and we look at the Port St. Lucie market, right? Sometimes we're looking at waterfront, vacant land, luxury listings, first-time home buyers, condos, whatever it is, giving you insight, actual insight, not people's opinions, not things you read on the news, actual statistics from our local MLS, right? So today, it's going to be visually a little bit more boring, but the data that I'm sharing with you will give you a positive outlook on the market that we're seeing, right? And in my opinion, in all honesty, I think it's positive for buyers and sellers. Where do we go? Entire screen, and let's hit share. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. This right here is an Excel spreadsheet that I made every single Monday. I track these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 statistics, right? And I share them with my team so that they know exactly what's going on in the market. We're not hearing it from the news. We're not hearing people's grumblings or maybe them bragging about how great the market is for them. You're literally able to see what the market is doing itself, right? Now, we've got every Monday up here from the first of the year all the way until, I got to get rid of that, all the way until 2 days ago, Monday, right? Look at how single-family home listings, the amount of listings on the market has changed, right? 1388, it goes up, 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 and now it's kind of plateaued the last couple weeks, right? So we've kind of hit a plateau of what we're seeing. It's been a couple weeks. We'll see if it continues to happen. Okay, so now I got that split into up to 500 grand and over 500 grand, right? I think it's crazy to think that up to 500 grand is first-time home buyer numbers, but apparently that's first-time home buyer numbers now. So up to $500,000, we're looking at 847 on the market. And again, it goes up, 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 up until we hit 972. Now it came down and it goes back up. So we'll see what happens, right? Very interesting. Okay, what about 500 plus? Again, up, 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 right? 540, up, 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 up to 616 right here in the beginning of February. Then it came down, down, plateaued, down, and plateaued. Interesting. Okay. What about that median asking price? You would think, okay, if the market is getting more inventory, maybe it's a little softer for sellers. We've got to see these asking prices come down. It's 470 here, 470, 475, 75, 75, 75, 70, 71, 74, 70. It is flat. People are asking today, on average, what they were asking the beginning of the year, right? Things really haven't changed a whole lot. So what about solds? That, in my opinion, is more important data than the actual actives, right? Solds, we got 442. This is a 45-day running number, right? So we're selling roughly 10 a day back on the first of the year, okay? So we're at 442, goes down 1, down, 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 down. And now look at the last 4 weeks, up, 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 up. And we're actually higher. We're selling more in a 45-day span now than we were at the beginning of the year, which was the number one number since I've been tracking this, right? So we are back to the sales we were seeing 2 months ago. Now I'll talk about the why here in a little bit, but that's interesting to see. So now how's it broken out up to 500 grand versus 500 grand and over? Up to 500 grand, right? We got 344. It comes up and then down, 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 and then it comes back up, 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 up. So very similar as the other one, right? I got to get rid of this data. I don't want you guys to see it and think it's accurate. It's not. That was from 3-4. Next one, 500,000 plus. 98 goes to 99, but then it goes down, 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 down. And then we see it come back up, 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 up. So it's very consistent across all price points that we're seeing sales coming up. That's awesome. Okay, so now a lot of people are like, man, I see the market is softening. A lot of inventory is coming on. Prices have to be coming down. Let's not look at the asking price like we did up here. Let's look at the sales price for 2020, 17, 19, 17, 15, 21, 25, 19, 20, 19. That sucker is straight across the board, right? It's a straight line. It's plateaued. I'm not really seeing an increase or a decrease. So hellers, buyers and sellers, I call those hellers. Where did the H come from? Hellers, sellers, I don't know. Can say what they want to, they can wish what they want to, but neither one has really got an advantage there, right? And then overall inventory numbers. What is an inventory number? So this 141.3, this means on the 1st of January, if you looked at all the actives we have, which is 1,388, and we're selling at a pace of 442 every 45 days, it would take us 141.3 days to sell out of all those homes, right? I tend to say that 3 to 4 months is a neutral market. Anything under 3 months is a hot seller's market. Anything over 4 months is a hot buyer. I shouldn't say hot. It's a seller's market or a buyer's market, right? When we were in the hottest seller's market I saw, this was at 19 days, and that was probably 2.5, 3 years ago, right? Typically, though, you're going to see 3, 4 months, maybe 2.5, maybe 4 months, but it's hovering right around there. Right now, we're looking at 4.5. 4.5, right? So is it a buyer's market? Yeah, I would say it's a buyer market. Again, this is the first of the year, but it's a pretty weak buyer's market. When you come into first-time home buyer market here at the beginning of the year, I would say that's a very neutral market. However, 500,000 plus, it's not that inventory was crazy. It was that our sales were so low. We only had 98 and we had 540 that were on the market, right? So it's going to take a while to sell out of that. So how has the inventory gone? Well, normal inventory was kind of neutral, up, 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 and then it came back down, down, and then we saw a big drop down, right? So up to 500,000, very similar, goes up, 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 up. Peaks right here, just like it did with overall inventory, and then it's come down every week thereafter for 3 consecutive weeks. What about higher priced, 500,000 plus? 248, it goes up, 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 skyrocketed up to here. Now, this one peaked a little earlier than the other two. Then it came down, 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 and then down drastically. So, guys, what does all of this say to me? This, to me, says that inventory is starting to plateau. Okay. Meaning that buyers now have more options than they had a few months ago, which is phenomenal for buyers. It tells me that the market is not going south because we're seeing this plateau. Now, this is short term. We'll see what happens in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. But the whole time that the market's been moving in an increasing inventory way, we have not seen sales prices change virtually at all. It's remained very consistent. It's plateaued. For sellers, of course, they wish that prices were going up. But in all honesty, as someone who likes a nice neutral market because it's good overall for the long term, I think this is exactly what we want, right? I'm telling you, not as a guy who's trying to sell for 1 year. For 1 year, I want a strong seller's market. That's what I, the salesman, want. But if I'm looking at the health of the market and the ability, I wouldn't say easy ability, but the manageable ability to sell a home and buy a home, to sell a home in, say, 2 to 3 months' time for market value, or to buy a home without having 3,000 people going against you and having to come 10 grand over. That's where you want that 3, 4, 5% increase in prices. I actually did a little math the other day because I'm a nerd, and I found that over the last 50 years, I'll make this a quiz game show, right? Over the last 50 years, what would you guess the increase per year on average has been in United States housing? I would have guessed that it would have gone up with income, right? Now, I will admit I have not looked at what income has gone up over the last 50 years, but I would have guessed income went up roughly with inflation. With the ridiculousness lately of inflation, maybe it hadn't gone up quite that much, but close to that much, right? And from memory, I think inflation's about 3, 4% on average. So I would have guessed that incomes would have gone up about 3, 4%. I would have guessed housing would have gone up 3, 4%. So do you have your number in mind? Do you have your guess? I would have said 3 to 4%. It was 5.34%. So higher than I thought it was. And that doesn't sound like a lot higher, but when it's roughly 2 points higher than I thought in a year, that's not a big deal. But when it's year over year over year over year over year for 50 years, that's dramatically different, right? If you've got money saved in an account and you're making 3.5% versus 5.5%, it's drastically different in what the result is going to be. The balance is going to be 50 years from now. So looking at those numbers, I want that to remain pretty consistent. I like to see that 3, 4, 5% increase. And that's we're not even seeing that, right? Prices are kind of, but a lot of people, especially in Florida, have a lot of equity in their home. They've been pouring cash into their houses. In Florida, I think it's two things. Number one, I think the typical person has more money in Florida than they do in a lot of other states. Maybe not California, maybe not New York, but more than probably 80, 90% of other states, right? Number two is we've got an older crowd down here. This is a retirement destination. And so we got a lot of people coming down and they're 60, 70, 80 years old. Guess what? 60, 70, 80-year-olds tend to have more money in their bank account than 20, 30, 40-year-olds. It just is what it is, right? And the other thing was we have seen a lot of folks selling in different states. I would say New York's number one. I don't even have to guess. It is number one. I don't know if California is number two, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, but those are kind of the big ones that I see also coming down here. And when they're selling their property for say $700,000, $800,000, and they're buying one down here for $400,000, $500,000, and they're paying cash or heavy cash. Maybe they're putting 50% down, 60% down, or even 20% down, and then they're padding their bank accounts, right? So they're heavy cash, and they're heavy into equity in their house, or maybe 100% equity. So for all those reasons, we're not, in my opinion, anywhere near a 2008. And I know it's probably not as scary if you're watching the news like I am, as it was maybe a few months ago when people were mentioning, hey, is this the next 08? And you heard realtors say, no, 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 no. And lenders say, no, 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 no. And it's hard to listen to that without data. That's why I try to give you guys data and say, yes, I believe that. You start to wonder. But looking at the heavy cash that we've got, I think that really supports the fact that we can stay pretty strong as a market, right? In 08, what I remember seeing is when I went into a listing presentation, 9 times out of 10, I would tell the sellers what their property was worth, and they owed more than that. I had to do the math there quick in my head. So I'd say, hey, your property's worth 300. They'd say, Joe, I owe 310. And we got to pay fees. Like, how are we going to do this? And that was 9 out of 10 people, because back then we were in the habit of pulling cash out as we gained equity to buy the four-wheelers. And I was in Minnesota at that time. So the snowmobiles and the big trucks and the additions to the house and whatever it was, right? Down here, it was probably pools and patios. I'm not seeing that to the same extent anymore. So people have the equity built in. They have great rates that they do not want to risk losing. And so we're not seeing a large foreclosure number at all. In fact, I'm not sharing screen right now, but I'm going to look up in the MLS. Oh, you know what? I don't even have, it'll take me a second to log in, but I'm going to look up. There's probably, well, let me see on this screen. So I said as of Monday, there were 1,521 single family home listings on the market in Port St. Lucie. I'm going to look up how many of those are listed as foreclosures. I'm going to guess it's less than 10. It's not a lot. There are not a lot of foreclosures. And that's in a city of almost 250,000 people, right? Okay, so what I say, Monday was 1,521. So we're going to be right around 50. We're at 1,551 right now on active, right? Active listings. So I'm going to come down to foreclosures. Yes. And of the 1,551, it's 4. There are 4, right? Now, a lot of people think you're going to get a sweet deal on these. They are priced at $379,900, $410,000, $452,000, and $525,000, right? Remember, the same buyers are looking at these that you are. There's other buyers looking at them while you are. So a lot of times, I tell people all the time, you can list your home at $1, and it's still going to sell for roughly market price, right? Because you're going to have so many people interested in the home. If it's 20 grand under, I'll come up 10 grand. I'm still 10 grand under, right? And then you end up selling for close to market anyway. So people think you're going to get this sweet deal. And I have seen it, but generally speaking, when I see the sweet deal, it's a home that is absolutely trashed. And there just aren't a lot of buyers that want to take that type of burden on, that workload on. So that's where you get the deals, if you're willing to put in the sweat equity. But if it's a nice, pretty house, it's probably not going to happen, right? So anyway, back to my point, though. There are not a lot of foreclosures on the market right now, which further supports my point to the fact that people are heavy cash, low rates. I see the market remaining pretty strong. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you've got any questions or any topics you'd like me to mention in the future in a video, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'm more than happy to do so. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you next Wednesday.